I'm here today with Bridget Collins, who's the Chief Information Officer of Cerence, the world's leading provider of automotive assistance. Hi, Bridget.
Hey, Steve.
So, for those who aren't intimately familiar with the workings of IT departments, can you describe your role at Cerence?
As the CIO, I'm responsible for corporate IT infrastructure and operations, as well as information security, business systems or business applications, our customer NOC or Network Operations Center. And here at Cerence, I'm also responsible for the procurement function.
Okay, big role, so a lot of responsibility there.
Yes.
And so, in your experience as an enterprise CIO, particularly considering all those different hats you wear, how well do you think IT is perceived by your business stakeholders, both at a kind of a management level and also the end users?
I think that's a perception that's changing for the positive. You've probably heard all of the old stereotypes that IT people are, the guys and gals working behind the scenes. They're mysterious. They prefer the company of maybe systems and computers over people. Or I think you'll find that many IT groups now are working really hard to change that stereotype, to be seen as partners and really more enablers to execute business strategy. There's a shift from a focus of, are my IT systems running, to, are they running securely? Are they optimized? Have we streamlined our business processes? And are we really providing the best business value? So as we grow in that partnership with our stakeholders and end users, and we continue to operate more in collaboration with them, I do feel that that's really being recognized both within my company and others as well.
And how well do you feel that IT overall understands the needs of the business?
So this is something that we at Cerence have worked very hard to change over the past 18 or so months. And I think an important distinction here is really recognizing that all employees, or even all employee groups, are not the same. Of course, there's this basic set of infrastructure. You've got email and your collaboration tools and your video tools, and everybody expects that stuff to be running and available all the time with constant improvements. But on top of that, your users are going to need different things. So, sales reps need their customer data in a really streamlined, preferably mobile way of managing that. Back office functional groups need optimized processes, integrated business applications, and a lot of data analytics tools. And then you have deeply technical requirements that will be driven from an R&D organization, and in some cases, professional services in deeply technical organizations such as ours. And I think it's really important to recognize those differing needs and really adjust your approach, your organization, the skills of your org, and how you respond to those needs.
And what would you consider best practices in terms of responding to those needs and understanding those needs?
A couple of things. I think while it's important to make sure that you are providing that cutting edge, easy to use, secure technology, I like to break it down into two specific things. One is really understanding their business and understanding their goals. And to be able to do that, you really have to be open to learn and to listen. A couple of initiatives that we've been running lately to achieve that goal of learning and listening is spend a day in their shoes. Make sure you're looking across the organization and all those different types of users. Running regional drop-in centers, sharing new features, getting feedback, get your baseline, understand what they think of you, run a survey. That's where we've used some Voxxify tools in the past. But you have to be open to that feedback. You also have to take all that knowledge and provide actionable plans and adjust where necessary. So the second piece, in addition to learning and listening, I like to say you've got to drive IT to be in that role of guidance or an advisor. All too often, users will come to IT with a solution in mind. And I think it's critically important that your team in IT is able to actually break down what the problem is and what their users are trying to solve before you actually start to discuss the technical solution. Many times we'll find, to use a car analogy, because we are Cerence, many times you'll find you really just needed maybe a mid-range sedan or perhaps even a motorcycle, and you didn't actually need the Ferrari right out of the gate. That, while you're going through that process, may not feel to the user that you're providing value to them, because that's where they may be thinking, oh, they're not just giving me what I asked. But if you take them through that process, they'll start to understand and learn that you really are providing value to that business, and they will start to recognize that. So those are two really important things that I like to focus on.
Okay, with that in mind, does empathy play a role in IT understanding the needs of the users?
Empathy plays a role in every aspect of our lives, and some would argue we need that now more than ever in the environment we're in today. But until I understand you, what you're experiencing, and what you're trying to achieve, I don't think I'm going to be able to help you move in the direction to achieve that goal.
And do you think that's possible to scale that empathy right up to enterprise scale?
I do. I do think it's possible to provide that at that enterprise scale. You need to build that into your culture, though. You need to build that customer service and empathetic approach into your everyday thinking about the work that you're doing. I will say our company has actually moved over to managing by OKRs. And those are objectives and key results. And if you don't know what those are, it's a collaborative way to set, challenging and really ambitious goals for the corporation as well as each individual group. And for our organization in IT, we have a very specific focus to deliver world-class customer service. And we're measuring that not just by your standard, ticket metrics and response time, that type of thing, which of course we're measuring that as well. But we're also targeting improvement to our survey scores, delivering on many of those opportunities for engagement and feedback that I talked about earlier, really spending a day in the life of our users and driving a collaborative partnership at all levels, from executive, down to every single developer and every single, back office user as well. We evaluate those goals really regularly, and I can say we've really experienced a shift in that partnership with our stakeholders and our end users. When I first got engaged with Voxxify, our organization had just spun off from the parent company, and we were working really hard to build everything from scratch. All new systems, all new email infrastructure, business systems, reimaging everyone's laptops and making sure everyone had new equipment, and really rebranding us as Cerence as opposed to the parent company. We spent a lot of time and energy, and it was a very complex disentanglement at a technology level from our parent company. One of the things that I was very much struggling with as we were just getting off the ground, we had all of the basics in place, but I was really struggling with understanding how I was doing from an end user services perspective. I had a partner helping us with our support work. I knew that wasn't going well. I was getting complaints from all different kinds of regions, and I wasn't sure if I was staffed appropriately, and I really hit a point where I wasn't entirely sure where to go next. And so when I got engaged with Voxxify, it was a really simple, seamless way for me to get feedback across the world from every different kind of user. In our company, it was simple for the users. We sent out the survey results. I can't remember exactly, but I think it was under 4 minutes, which is the average time people took to answer the questions. Every user was able to self-identify or let me know what type of user they were. And it was pretty quick for me to be able to see the sentiment across regions, across departments, and across each of those different groups. I was really in the midst of what I thought was chaos. In some areas, it wasn't chaos at all. We actually had things under control. And in other areas, it was a way for me to be able to manage some of that challenges that we were faced with. I was able to not only create an actionable plan to go help solve some of the problems, but it really helped me prioritize. And I can honestly say that without that data and that information that came back based on the sentiments that I was hearing, I may have actually prioritized the wrong thing. That's why we felt like it was very useful to us.
What did you discover that was surprising or that you didn't expect?
Yeah, that's a great question. One of the main things that we discovered was people wanted to provide feedback. They wanted to let us know how things were going, whether it was actually an IT issue or they wanted to let the management team know. They wanted HR to understand some of the things they were struggling with. They wanted, the finance team to understand some of the stuff that they were struggling with. And so that was eye-opening to us. And we used it across the management team to help in areas outside of IT. I would recommend it to anyone who feels like they need to get a handle on where they need to prioritize and what they need to focus on from that IT experience perspective. But if I really think about it, I actually think it would be useful for everyone because you don't need to be in a negative situation to go get feedback. I think it's important to constantly be listening and learning and understanding and really getting a good sense of what your end users are thinking to continuously get that feedback because there's always something. It's not perfect across the board and it never will be. Just like I experienced, I felt like I had something under control and it wasn't. And I thought that something else wasn't under control and it actually was. So I think it could be a valuable tool for anyone really trying to get that grip on what's going on in their business and continuously making that connection with the end users so that they can continuously improve. And one of the beauties of it is how easy it is for users to respond and how quick it is for them to just give a quick response. And you get so much valuable information from just a few simple questions. I just see it as something that can actually be a differentiator if people want to focus on that.